Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Ask Jameen. I'm Nicci Willis and
I'm Jameen.
All right, and today we are going to be talking about how the interest rate increase has affected the buying power. Yeah. Stop. All right, here we go. So before we get started, I want to remind you to make sure that you subscribe, hit that button over there in the corner, and make sure you hit that bell so that you're notified every time we upload new content. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, the interest rate has increased. All right, so let's talk about what that actually looks like in regards to your buying power. Meaning how much you can afford or how much home you can buy in regards to that interest rate. All right, so let's, I brought some numbers here for you. So as of today, interest rates are 5.5%, just a little over 5.5%. So compare that to January. January's rates were about a little under 3.5%, 3.45 to be exact. Okay, so let's calculate that buying power. Okay, now we know that the average single family home is now upwards of $450,000, but let's kind of make the numbers nice and round.
In Las Vegas.
Well, yes, to be exact, in Las Vegas. All right, so to make that number nice and round, let's talk about purchasing a $400,000 home. Okay, I'm gonna put the number right here. Okay, so the principal and interest payment with a 3.45% interest rate, this was back in January, okay, for a $400,000 home would have been $1,785. Okay, that was with a 3.45 interest rate in January. Now for that same $400,000 home today with a 5.51 interest rate would actually be $2,273.67. Okay, so that difference is actually $488.64. Yeah. That makes a big difference. That's almost a $500 difference per month in your mortgage payment on that same house. All right. So this is why we've kind of been telling you guys to buy and be on the right side of the rate. Also, to kind of put things into perspective, if you wanted to keep that same payment, that same $1,785 payment that you would have had in January, then the type of home that you would be able to purchase today would be about $315,000. Yeah. So that's a $85,000 difference in the type of home or the cost of that same home. All right. Yeah. So let's talk about it. That was a lot of numbers, okay? Maybe your mouth dropped a little bit, but let's talk about it and let's put it into perspective. Because yes, your buying power has weakened a bit, okay? But we're gonna put it into perspective now.
So interest rates rising, it decreases your buying power, just flat out. It lowers your buying power. So the reason why we always talk about when is the best time to buy, when should you buy a house, and things like that. So we're going to talk about it and make it like glaringly clear today of where that you're at, where things are at right now.
Yeah.
So interest rates going up for some people totally prices them out of being able to buy a house, like at all.
Yeah.
So a year ago, or if you take somebody that gets pre-approved in the Las Vegas market, somebody who got pre-approved for $250,000 that's below the average sales price of what it is right now.
Oh yeah.
And unless you buy something extremely a small condo or something like that, it prices you out of from buying something that probably needs to be
maybe a little work on it,
or smaller, to not being able to buy it all. It prices some people out of buying a house at all. And so for the people who say, oh, I'm waiting for prices to drop and things like that, while you're waiting for prices to drop, prices are going up, and so are interest rates. So interest rates going up, it affects you more than prices going up. So when you take that into consideration while you're sitting here waiting, your buying power is being decreased.
Yeah, it's weakening your buying power.
It's weakening your
It's
buying
like the kryptonite of buying power.
Yep. So especially lower income borrowers, it's affecting lower income borrowers the most.
Tremendously.
So it's like if you get pre-approved to buy a house at a lower amount, and then the amount keeps getting higher, but when they say they're moving the goalposts, it's moving the goalposts in a major way. So on top of that, people are being forced to have to rent, but also rental rates are going up.
They're going up too, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so you say, oh, I'm going to wait for the market to tank or the market to drop. While you're waiting, rental prices are going up. So what you're going to have to do is rent. The price of that is going up, and interest rates are going up while you are... I'm speaking from the person that has the ability to buy while you're waiting for something other than you and your personal situation to change.
Yeah.
Everything's going up. Rental prices, interest rates.
And rental rates have gone up about 30%.
Yeah.
At least in the Las Vegas area. I'm just talking about from the Las Vegas area. I know it's gone up even more in other cities. But for the city of Las Vegas, it's gone up about 30% in the past year.
Yeah, and if you aren't good with numbers, going up 30% versus going up 1, 2, or 3%
it's a big difference.
It's better on the interest rate side than it is
well, and I mean,
rental rates going up.
You know, we've talked about interest rates, you know, increasing. You know, we're talking like, you know, 0.25%. Right? So as of today, the interest rate has officially gone up 0.25% twice now. So 0.5%.
Yep.
It has gone up. And I know, and that's why we want you don't have to listen to us. You really don't. But what we do want you to do is listen to the people who are licensed. Listen to the people that do this every day, because the news is going to blow it all out of proportion. They are going to, you know, they've been screaming forever that, oh my gosh, there's getting ready to be a housing crash. There's gonna be a crash. There's gonna be a crash. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, stop listening to the news. Listen to the licensed professionals that do this every day. Okay? News people are cool, but they are journalists. And journalists, they get views, right? That's their job. Their job is to get views. We are in this every day. We look at the data, we look at the numbers. So if you are waiting for this big boom, this big, you know, bubble to burst, let me also put this into perspective. There is a 5 million house shortage. We are short nationwide 5 million houses. And that is because of the supply chain. That's because of so you know, there was a lumber shortage for a while. Now there's other things. We were talking about windows and just other pieces to houses that are making these houses. You know, the timeline for these houses, it just keeps pushing them out. So we're still in a housing crisis. Also for affordable housing, we're still in an affordable housing crisis. So it's still very much a seller's market. Still very much a seller's market. Also, with inflation and also with rates increasing, those who have already purchased or those who are already homeowners, they don't really quite see a reason to sell. Like, they're staying put. More people are staying put. And you know, if they have that really low interest rate that there once was, that if they have an interest rate at 3%, well, why are they going to sell and now have an interest rate at 5 or maybe even 6% when they have, a house already at a lower interest rate.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't quite make sense. And so it's still a seller's market from that perspective as well. What else? Because I'm going on a rant here.
Oh, that's fine. So if 2009 was a bubble,
that was a bubble.
That was a bubble. You have to look at this market. If 2009 was a bubble, this is more like a snowball. And you know how if you create a big snowball, it takes a while for that snowball to thaw out. So if this is if we were in a bubble before, we're in a snowball now. So if it's gonna go down, it's gonna thaw out just like a snowball. It's gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller. But the snowball is still rolling right now.
Yeah.
So the snowball is still getting bigger and bigger right now.
Yeah.
Yes, at some point, and we don't know that point, the snowball will thaw out, but you can't just put a pin in the snowball and all of a sudden it evaporates or thaws out.
Yeah.
That's the best analogy that I can give you right now. So
that's good.
This is the nugget. This is the gem. This is the soundbite. The best time to buy a house is still as soon as you're able to buy a house.
Absolutely.
It's still as soon as you're able to buy a house. So there's a quote that says, the best time to buy real estate was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. And so you can't compare yourself with a person that already owns a house or two or a second home and they're staying put because they're saying, oh, where will I move? Or I got a 3% interest rate. So if you rent versus own, you got to get with the homeowners and then say, okay, now I got time. Now I can wait and see what the market is doing and things like that. But the longer you wait, the more you're going to pay either in the price of the house or interest rates when you could be buying a house, taking advantage of equity, taking advantage of tax advantages, and talk about how the tax advantages actually help you when the rates go up. You was talking about that earlier.
Yes. So as we were discussing this, people, again, the news is scaring people about these interest rates. But if you think about it, when you own a home, that is a tax write-off. And so with the higher interest rate, you're actually being able to write off more. So it makes sense, again, on that other side. But again, you need to be in the game, not on the sidelines. That's another thing. Yeah, interest rates are going up. It might be affecting the buying power. But at the end of the day, if you can write that off on your taxes or whatnot, then, hey, you're still, things are still happening, but it's on the right side of the rate then.
Yeah, for sure. So just take it off. Remember, when I counsel first-time homebuyers, I say when you buy a house, you're able to deduct the interest, and it's like writing your kid off. Yeah. So when the rates go up, it's like going from having one kid to at least 1.5, if not 2 kids. Right. Deduct. So all of the interest that you pay on a mortgage is 100% tax deductible. Yep. So it's less money that you have to pay on your taxes, or more of a tax return that you get depending on your particular situation when you file your taxes.
Absolutely.
So the last thing is, even though interest rates are higher, and I have my sheet here for data, they're still not high. So historically, interest rates still are pretty low. So to give you some numbers, is rates in 2007, before the crash, were 6.5%. So even rates, they've gone up, they still haven't hit where they were in 2007 at 6.5. And then if you go back, depending on how old you are in the audience and things like that, in the 80s, interest rates were in the double digits. So they had like 12% interest rates in the 80s. So rates were in the double digits in the 80s. So that's one thing that you have to put into perspective. So you're like, oh, rates used to be 2 point blah blah blah. But if you look, that's the thing. We have we see right in front of our noses. We don't look at historical. We don't look at data, and that's why it pays to like read and look at data. Yeah. Because if you look over like 40 years, even if you take the crash and blah blah blah, interest rates, like I call it the skateboard. Appreciation of real estate still looks like a skateboard. Yeah. With dips and recessions and crashes, it still looks like a skateboard. So rates are still historically low compared to double digits to 5%. So think about it like this. This is how you have to think about it. If you didn't have a car and you needed to buy a car and you went to go get financing for a car and they said, sorry, your credit isn't that great. We can get you a car, but it's going to be a 17% interest rate. If you need a car, you're going to take that 17% interest rate.
Yep.
Because the benefits of you having a car is better than you not having a car.
Right.
It's greater. So you have to think about that from being not a homeowner to being a homeowner. And you have to focus on all the benefits of after you become a homeowner. Now, this is not a good way to think. Like, if something bad happens, if you can't pay your rent, and you go 30 days unless you have a pandemic or something happen and they stop evictions, you get evicted.
Yes.
But when you're a homeowner, you got at least 3 months to miss 3 payments and things like that before you get a notice of default. So even things like that, it's just more of a stable position. There's a lot of benefits. So no matter what the rates are, just like with a car, you still are in a better position. So buying a home is still going to be less expensive than renting now, unless you're buying renting like a studio versus a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath. Okay, yeah, renting is going to be less expensive, but buying a home is still going to be likely less expensive than renting right now.
Very true.
So,
very true.
Moral of the story is the best time to buy a house is when you're able to buy a house.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. My guy, MG, the mortgage guy, he has a great quote. And he says, stop focusing on the time the market will crash. Instead, focus on the time you spent in the market.
Amen.
Get on that other side. Get on to owning real estate. And those of you who are on the sidelines looking, waiting for that market to crash, you're just letting time pass you by. Okay? We've already talked about the appreciation, especially here in the Las Vegas area. Homes have appreciated 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
And now the market will correct itself, but it's not going back down like it was in 2009. So there will be a correction, and we are seeing like a slight slowdown because of the interest rates going up and things like that. Hence the correction. But again, that's like a snowball situation. That's not a bubble burst. So the longer you stay on the sidelines, the longer time's going to pass. Get on that right side of the rate.
Yeah, and just like I said, I'm going to go live probably this Friday and talk about this. It's almost like at a state of the emergency level of
owning.
You need to get residential housing for primary residence for investment. So that's single family home, townhouse, condo. Because
and you can get up into a four unit.
Yeah, up to 4 units.
That's still considered a single family.
Get a single family home, so you can still get a low down payment loan to get up to 4 unit multifamily building. Here's the reason why it's so important. If a correction happens or a balancing happens or even a crash happens, you have a competition like we talked about in the last podcast that we didn't have before. So you're not competing with just other homeowners.
Yes.
You're competing with major investors, major corporations that have billions of dollars.
Yep.
And so they will do like they did when we had the crash, is snatch up a lot of the available residential houses. Now it's different if you, an individual, has a home. The chance of you, an individual, selling a home to me, an individual, is a lot greater than me, this big corporation hedge fund, selling you, an individual, a home, because they aren't looking to sell those properties. They're looking to buy and
they're holding them.
Just like MG said, they're looking to take advantage of the data and the time period of being in the real estate market because it's a great investment. So if corporations are doing it, are you smarter than the corporation? You know what I mean?
They're buying. They are buying right now.
Yeah, they're buying.
Yeah. And pay attention to what the corporations are doing. They're buying single family homes right now.
Right.
So yeah, you know, you can't be smarter than these hedge funds and things like that. So I think we've ranted enough today.
Yeah.
But yeah, moral of the story, guys, if you still have the ability to purchase, go ahead and get on that right side. There are more benefits than not of being a property owner, of being a homeowner, of being a real estate owner. And there's so many moves that you can make, so many additional moves that you can make while being a property owner.
Yeah. And if you're not ready, get ready. Don't
Get
say,
ready,
I can't buy a house.
right.
I hear what you're saying, but I can't buy a house. If you can't buy right now,
That's such a good
get
point.
ready. Go back and watch our older podcasts. Watch our older episodes. There's housing, counseling companies. There's home ownership classes. There's tons of information that can help you prepare to be a homeowner, that can help you buy your first investment property.
Yes.
So if you aren't ready, now is a great time to get ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've said this before too. Contact a loan officer now.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to buy in the next 12 months, if you are looking to buy in the next year, contact a loan officer now. Establish that relationship now. I am all about making a game plan so you can be where you need to be when you want to get there. And so if you need help, if you are looking to purchase in the Las Vegas area, go ahead and hit us up. Put a comment below. We also have all of our contact information in the description. Book a call with us. We would love to help you because it's go time. If you can, it's definitely go time. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And hopefully this gave you a little bit of insight on what the interest rate is doing, but also a little bit more perspective on that interest rate. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.